this first bit out once you've got it.
Yeah,
Right.
tell you the other thing I'll do, Richard, if you're okay with it, I've got an app on my phone called Otter, which is a voice recorder, and it transcribes to notes as well.
Yeah.
So I'll set that running now. It's going.
All right.
And we'll be able to have a transcript as well. Perfect. Thank you.
Let me share this with you. Okay, so you've probably seen that.
Yeah.
The first thing that I noticed that Justin did, which shouldn't have, is he used paste to paste the data in.
Yes.
Whenever you're pasting in the spreadsheet, in fact, I'll go as far as to say even from the spreadsheet into the spreadsheet, or from somewhere else into the spreadsheet, or whenever the spreadsheet's involved.
Yeah.
If you do right-click, copy, right-click, paste values, not normal paste.
Always values.
Always values. I don't know if you know the difference between these things, but normal paste pastes the formatting and everything from the source document.
Yeah.
Paste values just pastes the data, whatever's in the cell. Paste formulas pastes the formula, which you don't want to do. This is transpose, which will switch everything around 90 degrees. That will paste the formatting, which is the one thing you don't want to paste. And this will paste the link, which is completely useless. So what you really want to do is paste values, and you want to use that all of the time.
Okay.
And then all of the settings that are in the sheet remain as they were in intent.
That's correct. The other two things you don't want to do, which some people are used to doing, is if you click on the top and you go, oh, yeah, like that should be yes all the way down. You don't want to use that drag function, because if you click here and drag it, that's the same as copy and paste.
Right.
And then the last thing that you really, really, really don't want to do is move a cell. So you don't want to go, oh, this yes should be over here.
Okay.
Moving it, because if you do that, then the formula continues to track this one, and then these formulas are broken because this one's interrupted, and that's a real disaster. So if you just use paste values. The other thing that I didn't check, but it would make sense, I'm not sure whether you did or didn't, is you need to paste the headers as well.
I didn't. No, I didn't. I just pasted the body.
So what you did was you pasted the body below these headers, and something had changed, so these headers didn't line up, and that's why you didn't get a current score.
Right.
So when you paste the headers as well with the data, then what happens then is that these cells here and those there, not the bottom two, obviously, because there's nothing in there yet, and that one are all asking you, which header do we look for the first name, which header do we look for the last name, which header do we look for the email address, so on and so forth. So if, for example, let's just say, for example, the growth mindset score changes to, you take out the O and call it that, for example. When that goes, all of a sudden that one turns red, says, I can't find it.
Okay.
And then you can go in here and you can find the new one that it is, and you can select it, and then it goes back again.
Okay.
So let me just put that back in before we forget. The reason for that is so that if any of the headers change, you can come and tell it exactly what to look for.
Okay. Right.
And you saw that red note pop up here. That's if there's any errors anywhere, it'll pop up underneath here. So if you see that red note pop up, then you need to find out what's gone wrong and deal with it. The other thing that you can select is a number of categories. Now, the majority of this is going to be set up at the beginning for each of these different reports and then left. So I did separate the colors on the other sheet. I didn't do it on this one. I can maybe change them to gray, the ones you don't have to do that often. But so, for example, the number of categories, 5, it can be 5, 6, or 7. Then what these ones here is asking is, where does the first question, what column does the first question start, and which column does the last question end? And those are the numbers that I've numbered at the top here. So I've said it starts in 26. That's where the first question is, and the last one ends in 71.
Okay.
So it goes up to 75. So I've said it ends in 71. That's the overall score, which column. And then the last thing that you do on this page to set these up is select here whether the question's normal or reversed. And what that means is if it's normal, then a strongly agree is the better score and disagree is the lower score. If you switch them around so that strongly agrees the low score and disagrees the high score, then just come here and switch that to reverse.
Okay.
And then the last thing to do is assign each of these questions into which category. So category 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. If it's 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, you can see there's space for 6 and 7, but I've said there are only 5, so it doesn't give me those options.
Yeah.
Right.
And once you've set this up, so a lot of this you'd set up at the beginning for a particular questionnaire, and once you've done it, you don't have to do it again. If things change, the headers change, and they can't find it, as I said, these will change color. Otherwise, once you've set that up, it's really just a case of putting the data in.
Right.
Your project setup is similar, but this time I have done gray and the red. So the company name, you put the company name in, obviously, and then you'd go through here and select. These are all the companies that it finds in your answers. So where you've had people put various different names for the same company, you can just select all the ones that apply.
Right.
And then anything that's listed here will be included in your report. Once you've done that, your staff names will pop up here to tell you how many they've. So your staff names will list all the unique names, and it'll tell you how many surveys they've found for each staff member. So, for example, if you've done, if a staff member's done 2 surveys or 3, and you expect they've all done 3, and one of them's done 4, then one of those surveys is a duplicate that needs to be removed. So it'll tell you here the minimum surveys and the maximum. So you can see straight away if they're all 3, then you know everyone's done 3. If the minimum's 2 and the maximum is 3, then someone hasn't done a third, or whatever the case might be.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got more than 25 staff and this is full, and you can't see who staff number 26 is, you can come here to section 1 and put in 2, and then it'll show you the second section of people. So you can kind of scroll through them.
Yeah.
But in this case, there is only 1, so it says of 1. You can also put in the country. Later, at the moment, they're all United Kingdoms. So at the moment, you can say country, United Kingdom, and who is the default. So in other words, if the country column is blank, which country do we put it down as? And I've just put United Kingdom in there. That can stay United Kingdom. But this one, if you do somewhere in France or whatever the case might be, you might need to change. You'll need to change the country there to look for the correct country, because on the report it gives a breakdown of everyone and then a breakdown of that particular country, and then the company and so on and so forth.
So Richard, that country field, is that a pick list or is that something you have to write yourself?
That's something you've got to write yourself, because you need to write the same way the word is written in your data.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because that okay, right, yeah, because we'll have to line that up with the data. And I think in the Score app now, Richard, it's created if you remember we did it live, there was a pre-populated list. So actually that, okay, so we just need to make sure that we reference that.
What I could do here is I could actually look behind the scenes, filter out all the countries, find the unique ones, put them in alphabetical order, and put that in a drop-down list for you.
If that's possible, yeah.
Yeah. So it'll give you a list of the countries that it's found in the raw data, basically.
Yeah, and I guess that will change. I'm just wondering about there's a raw date. There'll be all of those countries listed on the Score app, won't there?
Yeah, I'm just a bit concerned if the Score app then goes and updates some of them and you don't update them on here, then you've got a problem again.
Yeah.
I'd rather find the ones that are in the spreadsheet.
Yeah, I think you're right. They'll all be United Kingdom at the moment.
But I'll do that. I'll change this to be a drop-down list, and it'll find all the different options that are available.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks, Richard. That's great.
No problem. These last 2 grey boxes. This one is what the score is for your normal and your reverse, based on strongly agree. That's just how many points you assign to each question.
Yeah.
And the last thing is this box here, which is what was confusing you, Justin. This box, whatever you type in here, will appear here.
That's why I couldn't find it. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
You can adjust this for each individual report if you want. Just make sure the text fits in the box, because if it doesn't fit in here, it's not going to fit in here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And that's, whoops, that is that page. So the gray ones I would imagine would be set up once. The other ones you just go from company to company. You might need to adjust the red ones per company. And the last thing to do are the teams. So the teams, you can select a team leader out of, so it's already filtered the staff for this company. You can select a team leader and you can type in the team name, whatever you want, and then simply select all the staff who are in that particular team.
Yeah.
You can select up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 teams of, I can't remember how many it was, 25 or so in each team.
Yeah.
If you need more teams, so if you've got this stonking great business with about 40 teams or whatever it is, select 8 to start off with, run the reports you need, and then come in here and change the teams for the next 8 and then run those reports.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it just bogs this thing down way too much if I have any more than this.
Yeah, that's okay. And just a quick question, Richard, because it's come to me. If the team leader is someone that hasn't completed the scorecard, we have to get them to complete the scorecard so that their result comes up.
No, you can just type in another name.
Okay.
I can type in my name there, and I'm not on that staff list. And if you click enter, it just accepts it.
Okay.
Or you can go and select one of the people that's one of the staff.
So if it was you, Richard, can we play that with that as an example when we go through to the report and see what it does?
Yeah. I can't remember where it goes on the report, but anyway, well, let's have a look and see.
Yeah.
So that is the teams. You've got your project set up and the raw data, and that's all the data input. The rest of it is, well, I say it's all the data, not quite, but it's very close. If you set on the raw data that you're using 5 categories, then the report with 6 sections and the report with 7 sections become null and void. They won't work.
Yes.
So you want to go to the one that says 5. It
Yeah.
says here country, company, team, individual. And this bit in the gray here, you don't see when you save as a PDF, or you shouldn't see it once your settings are correct. So you can make the decision. You can select which team you would like to do. If you select, it says here, leave blank to use individual's team if selected. So if you select this individual, it knows that this individual's in team 1, so it'll use team 1. All right. So you don't need to select the team. However, if you don't want to show an individual, then it doesn't know which team to use. Then you can come and say use team 1. And then what it does is I must get rid of that 0. Then what it does is it uses, it'll show you team 1's result, but it won't show you an individual result.
Okay, great. Yeah, great.
So you can run the report for team 1 or team 2 or whatever the case might be without actually showing an individual. But then you have to just select the team. Alternatively, if you select an individual, then it knows what team they're in and it'll populate accordingly.
Right.
Yeah, very good.
The other thing that you can do is you can decide what to show on the report. So here it shows the company, the company, which is the blue, the team, which is red, and the individual, which is in gray. And then it shows all in the country above that. So because they're both the same, you can't see the blue one. It's behind the green one, but they're both there.
Okay, right.
You see the 2 lines. If you want to, for example, you don't want to show the country, or the country, for example, if you don't want to show the country, if you come here and remove that, it drops it down to 0. I can maybe try and get rid. Yeah, I need to get rid of that line. I'll make a plan to get rid of that line.
Okay.
But it should just disappear. It will disappear from the graph. Did the second one, not the first one. I must have a look at that one.
Yeah.
And if you then say, for example, you don't want to show the team, and it removes those scores from the charts.
Yeah, great.
So you can adjust which ones you want to remove. Then the last bit, this bit here might get a little bit cumbersome. So my advice here would be to leave these blank.
Yeah.
And what this does is, because it's got the score, so it gives you your overall score, it gives you your growth mindset scores, customer focus, so on and so forth. And then down at the bottom, it says the selection of question 1. It'll give you, it'll say one of the 2 highlighted questions from the first survey. This answers for a specific question was highlighted in the first survey. Here's the question and respective results. So then that one was was also the first survey. 2 of 2, 1 of 2, 2 of 2 for the second survey, and so on and so forth. Now the reason what this one does is it pulls 2 questions out from the first survey, second survey, and the third survey, and pops it in and gives you the results here as to what all country, company, team, and individual. So here's one that's actually found where it's got the scores. Now, how it picks those ones is, I can't remember exactly what I've done here now. One of them will pick the best. I must have a look and see what it was, but yeah. I think it was the question where the person could have the most improvement, or where they had improved the most. So the second one, it's the second and third survey. It's looking at the ones where one of the ones where they can improve the most, and one where they have improved the most. So it kind of picks strategic ones to show you here. In fact, here you can see here. Sorry, I did it here. So leave blank for the lowest score, leave blank for the highest score, leave blank for the lowest score, and leave blank for the most improved score. So it shows how they've improved from survey to survey, or if it's the first survey, the lowest and the highest score. Alternatively, if you look at the report and go, no, we don't want to show that question because it shows that whatever reason, you can simply come here and select which question you would like to replace it with.
Yeah.
And then it will replace that particular one with the other question, regardless of what it's found as to be the default. But if you leave all of these blanks, it'll pick what it said at the top of each of these sections here. My advice, especially if you doing the first person, then clicking the second person, then clicking the third person, and saving each one as a PDF, you don't really want to be coming here fiddling with these every time.
No.
So my suggestion would be to leave it. But if you do find one and you go, I don't want to show them that question for some reason, you can just override it with another one.
Okay. And it may be, Richard, that the customer says, you know, there's a couple of areas of focus for us. We'd like to focus in on these 2 questions, in which case we just select those, right? Yeah.
You just select those for the 2, and then it'll show them each time.
Yeah.
The last thing is the detailed report. So this is whichever one they're using, 5, 6, or 7. If you save file, save as a PDF. So if you say save a copy, my word, this is slow. Say desktop, and if you come here and you say PDF, then you can save it as a PDF.
Yeah.
What you need to do though first is, if you go to view, why does this slow down so much? There we go. Page break. This does the page break. Now at the moment it's set up. Unfortunately, this page break, as much as I would love to set up for you, is set up for a printer and not for your computer.
Okay.
So if I open this, it's going to be different to what it looks like if you open it.
Yeah.
So if you're ever saving this as a PDF, just do page break view, page break view, and just make sure those blue borders are where you want them to be in between the different. You'll see where they're supposed to be, because yours probably won't be that far out. And in fact, if you adjust the first one, the second one should jump into place and behave itself.
Yeah. So I literally drag that and move it just a line.
Yeah, you can get the line and you can drag and you can move it where you need to move it.
Okay.
To accommodate your printer.
Great.
Right.
Go back to normal.
Thanks, Richard. That's super.
Then the last thing, same printing deal with this one, but the last one is a detailed report. So what it does here is it's got the selections that you've made. Whatever selections you've made on the respective report that you're using will show here, and it shows first survey, second survey, third. Here it's got the category number. It does have up to 7. You asked whether we can do one for each of the different things. You can, but it's doing a lot of processing behind the scenes, and if we triple this out, I think it's going to get it's going to slow it down quite considerably.
Okay. Is there a way for me?
Just an extra line, I didn't think that would necessarily be the end of the world.
Okay, I just wondered if the customer might think, have I got some data missing? I wonder if it's possible, because what I would, in other spreadsheets, Richard, I might have hidden those rows or grouped them or something. It's not possible to do that.
Not in the locked one, unfortunately. But what I can do at very least is just only show the numbers. So if it only goes up to 5, 6, and 7, it'll just be blank.
Yeah. Yes, if that actually that would be better, if you don't mind. Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's fine, because then at least they can see that there's nothing there, so there shouldn't be anything. It's maybe the 6 and 7 that's causing a bit of confusion.
Yeah. And I don't know if we could, the whole of the row below it, Richard, the 5, 6, where it says 6 and 7. Is it possible just to make those the cells below it grayed out or something, just so it looks like there's not supposed to be anything in it?
That's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Now I'm not sure why, but all these rows are supposed to be higher. These ones at the top here aren't. It's gone shorter. I need to adjust that. That's maybe why it was going out of whack on the page.
Okay.
I'll adjust those. They should all be that high. So this will give all of the questions from the first survey, all of the questions from the second survey, as well as the average scores based on the actual score of the individual, but then the average scores of the other ones, the team, the country, and so on and so forth. For each of the surveys, for all of the questions. And then this one as well, same story. Once I've adjusted these heights and sent this back over to you, then you can again do the view page break and just adjust it where it ought to be. It should be just above each of the survey the survey names, and then it should be just above where it says individual questions and everything else in the first page.
Okay.
So this will be the way I understand it, you're going to offer this report as the main report, and then this is an optional extra.
Yeah.
Now, the way that the spreadsheet actually works technically, which doesn't really affect you, but just useful to know, this is actually the primary driving force. So this collects the data from these through these, and then that sends it across to these, which is the most logical way of processing and flowing the data, but you using it the other way around. So what I've done is I put the selections on this page, which then affect these selections, which then tells it which data to get, which then feeds it back to here again.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not relevant to how you use it, but I just thought you might be interested to know that. But
no, that's good. That's good.
So that is that. I've spotted a few things as I've been going along that I need to change, which I will do so, and then I'll send you the final version with those amendments made.
Yeah.
I just have to try and figure out how to stop presenting. There we go.
So we actually just dump raw data from a CSV file from the scorecard app into that, and we can play around with it.
Yeah.
Let me show you.
And the whole idea, Sarah, if you remember, Richard's created what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
Which is being able to take, because at the moment the score app is just data, and if someone said to me, could you show me my team's data aggregated, I couldn't do it. This will enable us to do it.
Yeah.
The other thing it'll help us do, it'll enable us to do that by team in individual organization. It will also enable us, if somebody says we're running a program with you, Justin, we want to put people through the score app twice, before and after. They can actually do that 3 times. So we could say, if you sign up to a year-long program, we'll do a before, halfway through, and an end of the year. So all of a sudden, it just gives us the flexibility to be able to really present back to customers the information that they're going to be asking for about performance improvements. It's great.
Yeah.
Here's the raw data.
Right.
So you need to get the headers as well. If there's anything above the headers, get rid of it. And if there's any spaces between the headers and the data, get rid of that. But you need to get the headers.
Yeah.
And if you actually start at this first cell, if you click Shift, Control, and Right, it takes you to the last one where there's text.
Ooh,
If you shift control and down, it takes you down to the bottom one where there's text. Provided everything in the first column has been filled in. If there's a name missing, it stops, and you've got to kind of go down again to make sure you've got all of it. Once you've got all of it, copy, and then come back to here. In the very top grey cell, B
values.
Right click, paste values. And if all the red disappears, then you're onto a winner and it knows where everything is and you can crack on.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Right. Okay. Wow. It's amazing.
That looks really good. Looks really good, Richard. Thanks so much. I'm really pleased with that.
So yeah, it is a spreadsheet, but if you think of it more as software and data paste and then selecting rather than making a spreadsheet, it makes more sense. Use it as you would a software program rather than the spreadsheet. But I mean, obviously you've got the flexibility of Excel in order to do what you need to do. Just if you get stuck as far as what to do or what not to do, if you go to the page onto the project setup, there's a little logo there that says how to keep your spreadsheet working.
Oh yeah.
If you click on that, it opens up a page on my website, which will show you the things I told you not to do and show you what you can do in place of those things I told you not to do.
Okay.
In other words, what you should be doing.
Mm.
Then also on that page, it actually tells you what to do in a kind of disaster recovery mode. Which what you can actually do is if you moved a cell or you copied and pasted or whatever the case might be, and let's just say you absolutely wrecked the spreadsheet. So you pasted in where you shouldn't have, you've locked it, you've dragged something, you've locked it again, you've moved the cell, it's giving errors, and it's just a complete and utter disaster.
Have you worked with me before, Richard?
Yeah. I was going to say he knows you.
If you keep a blank copy, which you must always do, keep a blank copy somewhere. If you open up the blank copy and you simply take the data you've got in and you do the paste values across from the broken one to the fixed one, then what it does is it pastes the data across, but it doesn't paste the issue that you've created across, and it actually fixes itself.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I'm always here if you get stuck and you panic, you can drop me an email, but all I'm going to do is open up a new one and take your data, copy, paste values across, and throw the old one away and give you back the new one. That's all I'm going to do. So
switch it on and off again.
You can actually you can do it yourself if you're stuck, rather than waiting for me. That's literally all I do to fix it. If that doesn't fix the problem, then there's actually a problem with the spreadsheet, which then I do need to get involved. But if it was working and you've done something and now it's not, that's more than likely one of those things.
It's a user error.
Yeah. And we'll do that, Sarah, as soon as Richard sends us the final copy. If we both make sure we've got a blank copy,
and
then